Unless you've been living under a rock, you are hearing all about the importance of protein. And it's true. And I have been a nutritionist for 17 years now, and I've been talking about the importance of protein and making sure that every meal and every snack has some protein on it. And I especially think this is important for breakfast. I even wrote the breakfast report years ago talking about how important it is to start our day with dinner for breakfast, savory, protein rich, to set us up for success, for cravings, energy, weight management, sleep. It just sets us up. So I want to show you one of my favorite breakfasts lately, and this is making your own turkey sausage. It's so good. It's become a total staple. My good friend shared me a recipe online. I've tweaked it a little bit. So I'm going to show you how quick and easy it is to make this breakfast sausage. And one thing I've noticed too, it's way less salty because you're making it yourself. So you can control how much salt you put in. I love salt, but I don't love things to be too salty where I can kind of feel it later in the day. So I've been using the ground turkey from Costco. It's organic. It comes in a 2-pack. I can put it in my freezer. I can pull out a pack so it lasts me a bit. And it's been a great, easy way to make it. So I'm just gonna open this up. The other cool thing about this turkey sausage is I like to make it fresh and just cook it fresh every day once I make it. Okay, so I've got my turkey in here. I'm just gonna add about 1.5 teaspoons of salt. So I'll just do a nice heaping teaspoon. And I'm going to add 1.5 tablespoons of olive oil. And the reason I tweaked this recipe is because when I first was given this recipe, I didn't have all the ingredients. And when I see something I want to make, I figure out how to make it with what I have on hand. So the original recipe called for ground dried sage and dried garlic powder. I didn't have either of those, but I did have some culinary sage in my garden. So now I use fresh culinary sage and a little bit of fresh thyme. And this makes it so easy and quick and delicious and fresh. And on my recipe, which you can download, I have the dried version and the fresh version. So I'm just gonna grab a little handful of each of these and give them a nice chop. And I was telling another friend of mine who goes to Jamaica a lot about this recipe, and he said that he had recently had some jerk chicken sausage. So you can use ground chicken, you can use ground turkey, and you can use your favorite spices to make a nice sausage. Isn't that amazing? Sage and fresh herbs are especially sage has a very antimicrobial quality. So this is just a nice aromatic herb to use to really get some good benefits. All right, so I'm just gonna pop this in there. So, it's about 1.5 tablespoons of fresh herbs. I'm gonna pop that in there. I'm gonna put a little bit of maple syrup. It's about 1 teaspoon. And I already did the olive oil, so now I'm just gonna mix this up. Look how easy this is. Okay, once I have that stirred up nicely, I am going to turn on my stove and heat up a pan. And I also have a little pot of water boiling, and I'm going to cook a few eggs. I'm going to show you my perfect, amazing eggs that I love to make. And I'm also showing you, I love these eggs. We used to have chickens and we don't have them anymore. And we also don't have a whole lot of rats either. So we had chickens. I loved having chickens. I raised my daughter with chickens. I'm really glad we had them. But now I love buying eggs. And even if they're a little bit expensive, I love these because the yolk is usually bright orange. So once I have my water boiling, I'm gonna just drop my eggs into the pot of water for exactly 6 minutes. So I've got my timer, put it on for 6 minutes, and I'm gonna drop my eggs in. pull them out after 6 minutes. And the other thing I like to do, you know, for years I've been telling people, okay, I want you to get at least 20 grams of protein for breakfast, 30, sometimes more. So how do we really know? Well, I know that 2 eggs are about 15 grams of protein. Great. How about the sausage? So I know about 4 ounces of animal protein is usually around 30 grams. So if I've got 15 there, I can have 2 or 3 ounces of the sausage and I'll have a little over 30 grams. That's what I want to do. It doesn't mean I'm just eating protein for breakfast, but I'm building my meal around that protein. So I'm gonna use my little trusty scale, my kitchen scale, and I'm gonna put a little bowl on there and tear it out so that it goes back to 0. I'm just gonna measure. Right here, I've got three ounces of protein. There I have it. It's fine, you could do it uncooked or cooked. It's gonna change a little bit, but you're still getting around that amount of protein. The other thing I have is I just have this little olive oil thing, which I'm gonna just spray a little olive oil in there, and I'm just gonna drop my sausage in. And what I like to do when I drop the sausage in is I like to spread it thin. And I learned this from my friend who taught me this recipe. Just spread it kind of thin. And so I'm just pushing it down with my spatula, and then I'll let it be. While that's cooking, my eggs are cooking, I'm just gonna transfer my sausage into a Tupperware. Now, this week, I can just eat this fresh every morning, or maybe I'll decide to make something with it with dinner or lunch or whatever, but I can make fresh sausage anytime I want. My husband can make it too. If I was living alone, I would probably, when I got home from the store, maybe mix this into half and, you know, have like less of it all at once so that I don't have to eat it all. Might be too much for just one person. This can go right into my fridge, and this is literally ready to go tomorrow morning, which is a Monday morning, and now I am prepped for breakfast. Okay, while my eggs are cooking, my sausage is cooking, I'm not going to forget about my fiber, right? So I'm going to cut into a little tomato and put that on my plate. Some people are sensitive to nightshades, but if you're not, if I had maybe some beans, I could do a little beans on the side, which actually I do. So I'm gonna throw down a little tomato. I have a little bit of tarragon. I love using herbs and spices. I'm just gonna chop that up and put that right over my tomato with just a little bit of salt. And I'm just gonna flip my sausage. Now at this point when I flip it, I can also take my spatula and just kind of almost put it into lengths, even though I didn't make a perfect shape. Now if I wanted to add a little more fiber to this breakfast, I happen to have some aduki beans and green bean, a little mixture. I could put that on the side of my plate. I wouldn't need much. Just a couple, like a half a cup of that, just to give myself a little extra starch, a little extra fiber. It's also fall. I might just put a couple pieces of an apple, maybe not a whole apple, but just a couple pieces of apple to give me a little bit of fiber there. So I have a small plate. I've got a little tomato, a little green bean, a dookie bean, a little apple. I'm gonna turn my sausage off. My eggs are almost done. So I'm just turning my pan off while my eggs are finished cooking, and they are just about done. And I'm just cooking the eggs for 6 minutes. That seems to be the magic number, but when you cook them for 6 minutes, if you realize these are too soft, these are too hard, then you can just adjust it from there. So I'm gonna just put my sausage right over my tomatoes. And so even though I'm saying breakfast like a queen, it's not like I have to have a humongous plate of food. And I'm gonna pull my eggs out. Okay, when the eggs are hot, this is a little bit of the tricky part. That's why the English have the egg cups. But what I'm gonna do is just put that hot egg into a shot glass because I don't have an egg cup. But I'm just going to crack the egg. Hot. I'm gonna crack the egg and just put it right over the top. The yolk is perfectly right in between. Look at that egg. Perfect. Little drippy yolk if you like that. 6 minutes. That's the magic number. And we've worked on this for a while and finally figured it out, the formula. But it's a very hot egg to work with, I have to admit. All right, so there we have it. I've got the eggs, I've got the sausage, I've got a little azuki bean, a little apple. You know, you can mix and match however you like. Nice little meal. I'm gonna eat this for breakfast. I am not gonna think about food for at least 4 or 5 hours. I'm gonna feel very satisfied with this. That is the name of the game. I hope this is helpful to see. Grab my recipe down below. Make a breakfast that is going to fuel you and allow you just to move on with your day and not be thinking about food all day. Eat breakfast and enjoy it. Let's just see how this tastes. The egg and the sausage. So delicious, so easy. And now I have this sausage all week long. Make it, you won't be sorry. Thank you for watching. Be sure to subscribe, click on the bell for notifications, follow me for more nutrition tips, recipes, and all things health, wellness, and vitality.